Nico, come on. Dutch, come on. Found this dried up creek here. Yeah, we're still in Arizona, and this is just I don't know, maybe a half mile from our camp. I didn't even know this was here. It's this whole dried up creek that goes down there. It's all green right now. There's no water here, but this is the greenest area I've seen up here. It's pretty neat. It's just so cool to be here in Arizona. It's 75 degrees today right here. It's over 100 if you go back down to down into the where the real desert is. It's over 100 degrees down there. So we're kind of just living it up at 75 degrees. I'm thinking about taking off in a few days. This is kind of the thought process that I go through because I've been here for a while, and so it's kind of time for me to leave. But I don't want to leave because, like, I just found this place. There's still a lot more exploring I can do. The weather is amazing here. This place is really quiet. There's some ATVers here right now again because it's the weekend, but other than that, this place is super quiet. There's lizards down here. This place reminds me, it reminded me even more of the Northwest. You get these like rocky, big boulders here in the creek. Back home, it'd just be rushing water over here. I'd have tons of water to drink. You know, you filter it, I filter it. But like right now, I've only got a couple gallons of water left in the trailer. So I've got to head back into town to get more water if I want to stay here longer. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do that or not, or head out and pick up water on the way and then go to my next spot. But we're up in the Coconino National Forest still, and I kind of want to explore the forest some more. So I might go to a different spot in the same forest area and keep hanging out up here because it's so nice up here. Dutch, come. Let's go. That's a good dog. Sit. Dodger, sit. He's not gonna sit. Sit. Come on, sit. Sit. I want to tell your story about when you were sick. He got super sick. Dodger's about, he's at least 14 years old. I think he's a little bit older than that. But he still really keeps up with us pretty good. He used to hike with me up in the mountains. I mean, just like, you know, we'd go 6 miles up. And you're going up like the whole way back home, you know. You're going up a mountain, hiking up a mountain. And I'd have a little backpack on him. You know, it would weigh about 6 pounds. But now, of course, I don't put any backpack on him. And we don't hike up mountains so much anymore. But a little bit in hills and stuff like that. He has a little bit of arthritis medicine that he takes. If he doesn't take it, he gets kind of creaky and slow. But other than that, he does really, really good hiking with us. He's really impressed me. But the other night, I was like watching Netflix or something. It was like 8:30 at night, and I went and looked in the bed, and he was laying in there, and his eyes were like, he kept going like this. And every time I would like move my hand close to pet him, he'd go like that, like wincing, constantly wincing. And he never really does that. Like really dramatically, like this painful feeling that he was having. And then he didn't want to get up out of bed. I tried to lift him out of bed a little bit, take him outside, because he was kind of wet in the bed a little bit. And I thought, oh, this must be it, because his head would kind of go down like that. And his eyes, he kept closing his eyes. And anytime I would come close to even touching him, even without touching him, he'd wince like that. And then when I would touch him, he'd wince too. He'd do the same thing. Or even when I'd talk, he would wince. Like everything was just hurting him. And I put a little bit of cottage cheese in some water just to make sure he had enough water. And he kind of lapped it up a little bit. He did, and he ate the cottage cheese a little bit. But he couldn't find the food in the bowl, and he kept like touching the edge with his nose. It seemed like to me like it was a neurological thing, and I thought, oh my gosh, did he eat some poison or something like that? Or did he get bit by a scorpion or a tarantula or a snake or something? But he wasn't scratching anywhere on his body. So eventually I kind of carried him, and he kind of hobbled to outside. He kind of hopped out, and he was like hunched over a lot. And he also kind of had a little bit of gas, and I heard a grumble in his stomach. And so I thought, well, that might be a good sign, like maybe he just has a stomach ache. And he was doing so good, just like a couple hours before. He was out running around. He was doing like really good. And so I couldn't figure out why all of a sudden he was just freaking out. He kept putting his head down, and luckily he was breathing kind of consistently. So I laid down with him. I didn't get ready for bed or anything. I just curled up next to him, and I felt good. Like I was like, well, he's had a good life, and if he just dies peacefully right here in bed. And I was thinking about, should I take him to the vet? And I thought, no, if I take him to the vet, he's just gonna die at the vet. So it's better if he just passes in his sleep here with me. Through the night, he would just kind of pick his head up and then kind of fall back down. And other than that, he didn't move. I was pretty much convinced. I was convinced that that was it for him, that he was going to die. And I was trying not to be dramatic about it or anything, because I didn't want to stress him out. So I just tried to stay calm and keep him calm. And I slept kind of okay that night. I woke up a few times, and he'd pick his head up and then just kind of plop it back down. And he's just not usually like that. He'll get tired sometimes, or he'll be a little bit sore, creaky, like if we run out of his medicine. But in the morning, he seemed way better, like 75% better. And I was so happy. So it turns out I went to Walmart and I got some of these chewy bones. They're not like rawhide, they're softer than that. And I gave them to Echo, and Echo can just chew them. He chews them really good. Dodger usually chews his stuff really good, but I did watch him swallow a pretty big chunk of it, and they're totally digestible. But I think that's what happened, was he got a big chunk in his stomach, and it was just clogging him up, and he was just having a digestion problem, really. And then around lunchtime, he was totally better. He was running around. He got back inside the trailer, and he got on the couch, and he was howling with excitement. Like he was just looking at me, like up at me, and we were kind of playing a little bit, and he was barking at me, and then he started howling like he was so happy. And so I knew he was better. It's just amazing how animals can tell you. And that's what he was doing. He was telling me, he's like, I'm all better. And he was happy. He was so happy, and I was so happy. So I guess any little thing now that happens, and I was convinced. I was trying not to be dramatic, but I was convinced that was it for him. So anytime something like that happens, because he's older, get out of there. Get out of there. There's probably something under this rock. I smell it. So I'm really grateful to have the dogs with me. Living this nomadic lifestyle, living like nomads, it's nice to have a dog, and I feel really lucky to have 2 dogs.